Good morning and good Sunday. I hope that this new day finds you and your soul at peace. My name is Leon Dunkley. I minister to the North Universalist Chapel Society here in Woodstock, Vermont, or North Chapel. I'm happy that you have joined us. It's good to be together. Today is Sunday, May the 10th in 2020, and the name of this morning's reflection is Mother's Day. The word mothers appearing without an apostrophe, in its plural and not in its possessive form. To this service and to this spring snow of this May day, I bid you welcome. To all souls, I say good morning. It's good to be together. My mom's best friend in New Jersey has claimed me years ago. I've long felt very good about it. Her name is Betty. She is like a second mother to me. She lives in Berkeley, California, out where I went to seminary. I've known her ever since I was a child. I know her family. It's really very nice. And Aunt Mona, back in Queens, she and my mom spent so much time together. They were the best of friends in my first 4 years of life. I always thought that she was family, and she is family, but not in the blood-related sense. And even Karen Zwirling, the mother of my best friend from childhood as I grew up in New Jersey, they moved away when I was little, maybe 6 or 7 years of age. After many years without contact, we're finally back in touch on Facebook. She and I had a recent exchange in which she expressed great gratitude and pride at the way that I had turned out. It was kind of funny. She said, even though I didn't raise you, and she said that with some surprise. She felt such pride. And I said, you sort of did. Even though I had only known her for a short while I was short myself, 5, 6, and 7 years old. She touched my heart in a way that matters. So of course I remember her. So in a sense, I've had many mothers, and my own mom's generosity of spirit made that very easy for me. I'm grateful for that, Mom. Thanks. And so today, may we give thanks for our many other mothers and for our mothers as well. Without apology, we celebrate this Mother's Day without apostrophe for the woman spirit love that shapes our lives. Our opening hymn this morning is a Tallis Canon with the verses from verse numbers 377 and 381 in the Gray Hymnal, singing in the living tradition. Would you please rise in body and spirit and join us in the singing? This is the time in the order of service for the sharing of joys and concerns. If you have a joy or a concern in your heart, I invite you to share it at this time from wherever you are, from wherever you find yourself at present. Call out the longings that are in your hearts and send its good light over to North Chapel. May our separate joys and sorrows gather into a single sail, breathing in and breathing out and breathing in. I light 3 candles of joy and concern this morning. The first is for Tisha Ellis. Her nurse and lifelong and life friend, Julie, has outed her at last. Tisha has been exposed. Julie tells us that this weekend is Tisha's birthday. So in the warmest spirit, we sing, "Happy birthday to ya," with the same joy and wonder that Stevie Wonder embodies. The second candle is for my own mother. I light this candle personally as her child and symbolically as well on behalf of all children who celebrate their mothers on this day. And I light a third candle also for my mother because, like Tisha Ellis, this weekend also marks her birthday as well. So to both of this morning's birthday girls, I wish you every blessing on this good and happy day. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. For all that has been spoken, and for all that remains in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, may we be forever grateful for these days we spend together, these days that have our names written upon them for this and for so much more. I will light one more candle. May we hold all of this in compassionate community as we enter a time of meditation and prayerfulness. 2 years ago. 2 years ago, a young friend of mine inspired a song in me. This young friend bursts with light and laughter. Often he bursts with the need for the attention of others. He reminds me so much of myself when I was his age. He was 3 or 4 at the time, and when I was that age, I was cheeky and confident. I knew for sure that I was safe and loved. That was my mother's doing. My father's too, for sure, but mothers are special. Now, not everyone has this experience, I know, I do realize that. But those of us who do can spread the wealth if that's desired. We can share whatever wisdom we've acquired, and we can learn to be loved in retrospect. Many of us have had to do it. We can learn to bring the beauty into our lives and backfill a little bit. We can learn to be safe and infinitely loved even after the fact. Now, my mom taught me that. She was not given the same gifts that she has given me. So all things are possible. Anyway, for my young friend and maybe for myself, I wrote the song that begins with these lines. Oh, how he tried to hold his light inside, but life is so mystified and free. No one controls, and the boy loves so bold that he washes the soul of me. This kid makes me laugh, or rather he used to make me laugh. He's much older now, 2 years on from 3 or 4 years of age. Life moves quickly when you're a little kid, so watch out. He's still a good friend. I hope that we will continue to know each other over the years. I love friendships that slowly mature over time. One of the closest long-term friends I've ever had in my life has been my mom. And although she didn't inspire the second verse of that song, it certainly applies to her. Oh, how she burns with graces unearned, tossed by the turning sea. Only the angels can face life so sober and true, embracing the sun and the moon of me. Only the angels can face life so sober and true, embracing the sun and the moon of me. I always felt completely accepted by my mother, pretty much unconditionally. Not that I didn't annoy her sometimes, I'm sure that I did. I'm sure that I still do, but she still loves me. She still loves the sun and the moon of me, my good parts and my bad parts. We've always been close. Even when I wasn't being a particularly good boy, like the time that I wrote the curse words that I was learning as a child on a piece of masking tape and then placed that piece of tape strategically and shockingly beneath the deodorant in the bathroom. I was trying to create a strange good morning surprise for whoever was going to use it. When the tape was found, when I was discovered, I denied culpability. I lied to my mother's face. I all but demanded a lawyer. I don't know why, and I don't know how, but she loved me even then, perhaps only as a mother can. Thank you, Mom. Where I grew up in New Jersey, it was not exceptionally racist, but we were one of the very few Black families in town, and that had meaning. So being Black in New Jersey, where I grew up, made you exceptional. I didn't know if we were exceptional as a family in general, but that certainly made us so. That took me some time to figure out. I grew up in a predominantly white suburb of central New Jersey, and we had moved there from a predominantly Black urban environment in Queens. As I got older, I actually wished that I had been from Brooklyn, because Brooklyn had the Dodgers. But the Queens had the Mets, and that was good enough for me. Shea Stadium was just across the way from the apartment where we used to live. I don't remember going to Mets games when I was a really little kid, but I do remember going when I got older. Mostly with my dad and his friends. I don't remember ever going with my mom. In fact, there was a time that I remember best was the time I ate all of these hot dogs. I was really hungry, so I kept asking, and my dad kept buying them from me. I think he even lost track. I think it must have been like 4 or 5 hot dogs that I ate, and I'm sure that my mother wasn't there because she never would have let that happen. 2 hot dogs would have been the upper limit. 3 if I was lucky with my coercive persuasions. I remember the innocence of that time. I remember the joy of thinking about relatively meaningless things. Sometimes I wish I could return to that feeling, to appreciate those feelings again, to not know again what I do know now, but I did not know then. Sometimes I want to return to that kind of innocence, but you can't return, as they say. You can only look behind at the path that leads us to here and now. And when I look down at that path, when I look backwards at that path, especially in early May, I think about my mom, one of the closest friends I've ever had. And we fight more now. We don't have real fights. We just have these little skirmishes, playfully. We don't slam doors or yell at each other. We never have. I used to think that made us so exceptional. But as I got older, I realized that it really didn't. I thought we were special because we didn't fight. But that changed, and I slowly came to realize that fighting, especially with family members, can be a good thing if you do it compassionately and with humility and grace. I think it was good for us. I think it brought us closer. Now, my mom is a fairly grounded woman. She did a lot of the hard work of the family. The mother work, the hands-on work, the deep and dirty work, the kind of work that keeps young children alive. Now, she didn't like to cook, but she did it anyway, and she made super delicious food. I would be playing outside in the neighborhood, and I would hear the ringing of the dinner bell. The other moms and dads in town went to the front door and shouted their children's names at the top of their lungs, but my mom had this little bell that she would ring. I always thought that was pretty classy. And my friends would make fun of me about it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome. Over the years, I came to realize that the innocence that I enjoyed as a child was made out of some super hard work that my folks were doing. My sister Lisa and I were the beneficiaries, and we still are the beneficiaries of this work today, because our parents took pains to hold off a sea of troubles, especially when we were young. We were sheltered from so much. We were not sheltered children in a privileged sense. We were not protected from life's difficulties, but we were certainly not exposed to its dangers. And that takes real work. That takes real strength, real commitment. And my mom did it with such grace. So it's actually shatteringly emotional sometimes to look back at what she's done and what she's doing even now to be a good mom, to be a good mother. And I can feel this welling up in tears in me sometimes because of the power of it all. Hers is a gentle face and a peaceful one, despite the troubles that she has seen and the struggles that she's experienced. Her manner is still easy and cute with a caustic edge. She can be both acerbic and sweet. She's got mad skills, a diversity of strategies and tactics. So you have to be careful and skilled with my mom. She's awesome. With her smile as sweet as a warm wind in summer, she's got me flying like a bird in the bright June sky. And just when I think that I've got her number, she brings me down to the ground with her wintry eye. That's my mother. She can be all 4 seasons in one day. It's a quote from a song by Sting. Now, I'm sure that my mom would object to me telling you some of this and would say, why are you telling all those people these things about your mother, with her hand on her hip? And she'd say, are you crazy? She can be a pretty private person, but I've learned over the course of time that I can be calm when she challenges me like this and not engage the questions on her terms, but satisfy the needs of those questions in different ways. Like by asking, Ma, is what I said true? And if she agrees, it will inspire a one-beat laugh and a smile, and suddenly I'm off the hook, for the most part. But then the next time I'm in range, of her right hand. I might get a little swat, playful swat, and then a kiss and a rolling of her eyes. The best image that comes to mind when I think about my mom is the new stained glass at the back of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. Now, the 16th Street Baptist Church is one of the most famous churches in our country, but for a terrible reason. You may remember, back in 1963, it was the site of a terrible bombing. 4 men placed 15 sticks of dynamite and a timing device in the stairwell of that church, and on Sunday morning, September 15, at 10:22 a.m., the bomb exploded, killing 4 and injuring 22 others. That was September of 1963. My sister was born in September of 61, so she was 2 years old. Our mother sheltered her from the fallout from those times. She was protected. 2 years later, I was born, and my mother sheltered me as well. Both she and my sister did. They did the hard work, the mother work, the hands-on work of family. They did the work that keeps young children spiritually alive. So the best image that comes to mind when I think about my mom is the image of the new stained glass, the glass that they put in when they rebuilt the church after the bombing. After that terrible day, the 16th Street Baptist Church received a gift from the country of Wales in the United Kingdom. It was a gift of stained glass that honored the church and its gesture in the world. It was called the Wales Window of Alabama. Let's take a look at it. The gold inscription plate describing the meaning of the stained glass says, "Given as a sympathetic gesture by the people of Wales following the tragic bomb explosion at the 16th Street Baptist Church on September 15th of 1963, which took the lives of 4 Sunday school girls." My mom sheltered me from this, from even knowing it when I was young. Every mother would have, I believe, even the ones that lost their daughters that day. So this Mother's Day is as much for those 4 mothers as it is for my own. It is as much for my other mothers all around the country, as much for every mother, mothers of every sort and kind. Today is Mother's Day, plural, without apostrophe. So let's take a closer look at the Wales window for Alabama. Please notice the right arm of the image, the sheltering arm that holds off the sea of troubles. That's the part of the image that reminds me of my mother. Across the bottom of the glass, it reads, "Given by the peoples of Wales in 1964. The Wales window was dedicated on June 6th of 1965. I was 2 weeks old at the time, and my mother sheltered me from the fallout. I can never repay her for what she did for me. There's nothing I can do save tell her that she means everything in the world to me. Nothing I can do but share with her that she is always in the center core of my heart. It's like the song that James Taylor and Carole King have been singing for years. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call and I'll be there. You've got a friend." One of the closest friends I've ever had in my life has been my mom, and we've always been close. My mom's a painter. She paints African masks. She brings them to life somehow with color and depth and vibrancy. I don't know how she does it. This is her self-portrait that she did 30 years ago. And behind me is one of my favorite paintings of hers. It's an African mask. She painted that one a year later. There are so many more now. The house is like full of them, and the storage unit is full of them. She's gotten really good. I love each of her paintings more and more as the years go by, and I love my mother more and more with every passing day. As I prepared for this reflection, the winds were kicking up in the hills, bringing colder weather and some snow. But once it passes, I am going to dig into the earth and plant a garden in her name. And I will watch it grow slowly over the course of the summer. Now, I haven't become a parent in the way that my mother and my father did, so I haven't done the hard work of family in that way. I haven't done the mother work and the hands-on work and the deep, dirty work that keeps us living. But for those of us who have, I say in deepest measure, thank you from the bottom of life's heart. If I could paint as well as my mom, as well as she has learned to paint, I would learn to bring the beauty that I need into my world. And I would paint a world precisely as beautiful as the one in which we live, with all of its joys and challenges. And I would live within that painting, maybe with a little less gray hair. And if I could paint, I would surely paint a heart as lovely as my mother's heart, as lovely as all of my mother's hearts. And the world and that heart would be one thing and the same. They would be the same size and the same measure of beauty. And I would paint the nighttime sky, that ever-widening expanse through which we fall and fly at the speed of the sun. And out of its light and out of the infinite darkness that surrounds, the miracle of life is being born. And I would paint that sheltering arm of love that steadfastly, universally, and unconditionally protects us as well as it possibly can and loves us always. It protects us against the sea of troubles, come what may. So thank you, mothers. Mothers of all kinds and styles and circumstances. Thank you for the miracle gift that you've given. May we treasure it on this snowy Mother's Day. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.